Monday to you. It's Patty from Worthy Nutrition, and today is Monday Musing. Welcome to Monday Musing. Hope you're having a good day. We are continuing from last week, which was all about lectins, what they are, and if they're really that bad for you. And so this week, I wanted to continue that discussion and just give you some good tips and kind of, well, what do I do? Ideas. So I'm going to review a little bit. So lectins are proteins that bind or attach to carbohydrates like sugar. And they are also categorized as anti-nutrients because they have the ability to disallow the body's or reduce the body's ability to, to absorb all of the vitamins and minerals that are in the foods that we eat. So that's not a good thing. In small amounts, lectins can be very helpful. They do all sorts of different things that are really good for the body, but in large amounts, they can really do some damage to our GI tract. So we just want to be careful with that when we go and do our food shopping and our meal planning. Okay, so food, just any food, can cause minor damage, very minor damage to our GI tract, which the cells repair very quickly. That's the good news. Yay. Lectins, however, can slow down that speedy recovery, and damage can occur to the GI tract. That's not such a good thing. So we want to make sure that we're not taking in a lot of high lectin foods, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. When enough lectins are consumed by the body signals the GI tract to evacuate the contents. So that means, unfortunately, vomiting, very much pain, and cramping and diarrhea. And it's kind of similar to when you ingest too much alcohol. It's the body saying, I'm being poisoned. I don't want to be poisoned, so get out of here. So that's what happens. All right. So the people who have GI problems like Crohn's disease and IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, they tend to be more sensitive to lectins, their gut lining do. So that's something that if you do struggle with that, you need to be cognizant of that and just keep an eye out for those low lectin foods and always rotate, always rotate. It could be due to the high turnover of cells with the greater population of, the immature cell varieties taking its place. And so the immature cells can allow more lectins to attach and then cause more damage to the GI tract. Not something we want. All right, so what to do? What to do? First thing is eat a variety of fruits, vegetables, and other foods. That goes without saying whether we're talking about lectins or not, because the more you eat the same food day in and day out, the more you're susceptible to getting food sensitivities, which you don't want. You don't want. I have done that in the past, and I have multiple food sensitivities that have gone into autoimmune and possible autoimmune. I'm actually, working very hard to fight that off nutritionally, and so far I'm winning the battle, which is great. All right, so the word is rotate. We want to rotate our food when we go shopping and not buy the same thing all the time. Okay, so sprouting seeds and legumes, beans, grains, all of that. The seed coat oftentimes has all of the lectins or most of the lectins in whatever food you're eating. Once you sprout that, the seed germinates and the seed coat metabolizes, and that eliminates lectins. Yay! So that's a good thing. And you can buy them already sprouted. You can sprout them yourself. Depends on what you want to do. Always, always soak beans. I think we talked about that last week, especially with the kidney beans. The lectins are just sky high. If you eat raw kidney beans, that are, even if they're soaked, you will be horribly, horribly ill. So you got to make sure not only to soak them, but to cook them. Soak beans and grains and cook them. Overnight soaking is recommended, at least 8 hours, but more would be great. You don't want to change your water often. And right before you cook them, you want to rinse them, drain them, and rinse them again right before you cook them. That's the best way to get rid of most of the lectins. Doesn't get rid of them all, but it's a good amount that you're getting rid of. Fermenting is great. Fermented foods are great. So eating fermented foods with the food, foods containing lectins is great. And also some of these foods that are fermented contain lectins, but then the lectins are lowered by the fermentation. So the organisms in the fermented food digest and convert lectins into harmless organisms. Yay! All right, so, and it's no surprise that the healthiest populations eat many fermented foods, like tempeh, which is fermented soy, and miso, tamari, and natto. Those are all fermented foods. Veggies like cabbage are great fermented. That creates the real sauerkraut, not just the cabbage that's soaked in vinegar. That's not real sauerkraut. So there are fewer lectins in those foods too. And it is no coincidence that the top 8 allergens in the United States contain high amount of lectins. So those are dairy, egg, wheat, soy, peanuts, tree nuts, fish, and shellfish. Okay, a lot of lectins in those foods. So just keep an eye on those. Keep an eye on your consumption of those and plan accordingly. You'll be fine. Okay, and then high lectin foods, the highest ones are, of course, kidney beans. Those are sky high, but after you soak and cook them, it's much better. Peanuts, tomatoes, potatoes, wheat, of course, and you probably were surprised to see tomatoes and maybe potatoes, but they're part of the nightshade family, and most nightshades have lectins. So again, what you're going to do is not eat too many of them. So if you go to the grocery store and maybe you buy 5 or 4 tomatoes, you will buy 1 or 2, and that you won't be depriving yourself. You just won't have a huge tomato salad. You'll just have a salad with tomatoes. And the same thing with potatoes. Maybe just buy 1 or 2 instead of a bag. And I was just watching a webinar the other day on the GI tract, and the doc that was talking about how the Italians had it going on when it came to lectins, because they have that Italian plum tomato that they use for their sauces, and what's great about that is lectins in tomatoes are mostly in the skin and in the seeds. And when you make a sauce, you get rid of the seeds and you just use the pulp. And with these plum tomatoes, they have fewer seeds, more pulp, and they don't use the skin. So they really know what they're doing, those Italians. Okay, and then pressure cooking foods really help to lower the lectin content also. Okay, so those are my tips for you. I hope you take them to heart. Next time you're planning your meals and figuring out what you're going to buy at the grocery store, just be cognizant of what lectin foods are, and you can always Google that. There's plenty of lists online and you can find that out, but I just thought I'd mention a few of them here for you today. Okay, well, I just wanted to say, as always, visit me at worthynutrition.com. Thanks for being here with me today, and I will see you next week. And I think we're going to talk about beauty products and the carcinogens that can be lurking in your beauty products, like shampoos and fragrances. What else? Body wash, body lotions, all sorts of different things like that. So I just think that it's a good idea to be cognizant of that also, and then you can make better choices when you go to the grocery store. And I'll have a few suggestions for you. All right, have a great Monday. It's been great talking to you. And as always, give me your questions, give me your suggestions. I want to know what you want to know so I can tell you. All right, have a good Monday. Ciao for now. Bye-bye.